Hey, IM1 students, this is Mrs. Mack. Mrs. Taylor is not going to be here today, so I wanted to make sure that you got your lesson, even though you don't have a teacher. So this is going to be a welcomed break after doing functions for so long. These standards are really not too terribly difficult. So hopefully this sub gave you a packet and an assignment sheet and patty paper, which is like transparent paper. Your pieces are going to be bigger than mine. I wasn't prepared to record a lesson, so I only have small chunks because I had to cut it from one that I had brought home. So this will work though. So what we're going to do is we're going to be doing transformations, and the first kind of transformation we're going to do is called a translation. A translation, right here, is when you move something either up or down on the coordinate plane. You guys actually did this with functions already, so this is going to seem like a walk in the park, I have a feeling. All right, so if we look at the steps here, it says graph the triangle YUM on the coordinate graph. So I'm going to do that. Y is at 0.11. U is 4, 2, and M is 1, 6. You know what? The one thing I didn't grab was a ruler. Give me just a second. Luckily, my daughter was using a ruler on her homework today, so it's just sitting right there on the counter, ready to go. You do need to make sure that you use a straight edge with these. I am not doing a very good job. You'll see in a second. See, my lines are a little bit off, but that's okay. So I'm going to label that. This point right here was Y, and then U, M. So your triangle, YUM. Now it says using transparent paper, trace the triangle YUM, and then using transparent paper, translate the triangle YUM 8 units to the left. Okay, so here's our transparent paper. Now when I do this, I want to not just sketch the triangle, but also a little bit of the X and Y axis, and it will help guide you as you slide it around. And then this does not need to be perfect because nobody's going to see your transparent paper. They're just going to be seeing what's on your thing. Okay, so it says translate the triangle 8 units to the left. So I'm going to go over 8 units. Now this is where it's beneficial to have a little bit of the coordinate plane on there, because then when I slide it over, I can make sure the x-axis stays lined up. So I'm going to go over 8 units, which I believe is right here. Okay, and then I'm going to transfer this shape onto my paper. I'm going to use a different color for this. Okay, so when I transferred it over, when I translated it, it landed right here. And I'm going to connect this. So this is the new triangle that we've translated. Instead of putting YUM, we're going to do Y1, U1, and M1, just so it's super clear that this is your translated triangle, not your original. Now we're going to write down the new points for this. So our Y point is now -7, 1. Our U point is -4, 2, and our new M point is -7, 6. Okay. Now I would like you to do the same thing, except for this time we're going to be transferring or translating the triangle cat 6 units to the right. So instead of translating this way, you're going to be translating this way. Give it a shot, see if you can do it. Pause the video for a minute and try it out. When you're ready, you can click play again. All right, let's go ahead and do this real quick. Hopefully it all went well. Here's C, A, T, trying to make sure I always do my originals in purple and my translations in green. Okay, so here we go. This was C, A, T. Now I'm gonna run out of patty paper, so I'm gonna reuse my same little piece, and you can too. Just you know, rotate it around, use a different part of it. So I'm gonna line it up on the coordinate plane right here. I'm gonna ignore the shape on the bottom because we're not using that shape anymore. And I'm gonna sketch my triangle. And it said translate 6 units to the right. So when I do that, it lands right here. So I line up my x-axis, and you'll see that your translated T is gonna be right on the y-axis. So let's go ahead and put those points down here. Okay, I'm gonna connect these. Don't forget your straight edge. I do believe that you get docked points when you don't use a straight edge in IM1. So make sure that you're using your straight edge to make these lines nice and crisp. You know what? I just said I'm trying to do all of my translated ones in green and my original in purple, and I totally just did the translated one in purple. I'm gonna go over it with green even though it's already purple. We'll try to do the best we can with it. Okay, so this is gonna be my C1, A1, T1. Okay, that's my translated figure. So let me write the points down. Okay, so C is now 4, 2. A is 5, 7. T is 0, 4. Okay, so now we're gonna take a look at what we just did and write a rule for it. So it appears that every time we're translating left or right, okay, this way or this way, your y value is not changing. So you can see that all the y's stayed the same, but the x changed. When we translated the figure 8 units to the left, we subtracted 8 from the original. So 1 minus 8 is -7. When we translated to the right, we were adding 6. Okay, so right translations are positive, left translations are negative, which makes sense because if you go to the left, you're going in the negative direction. Okay, so we decided that the y's all stayed the same. And it said, what is the rule for a figure being translated 6 units horizontally? Well, whatever x is, we're gonna add 6. And if it's to the left, make sure that you add a negative, okay? So we would consider this a -8 translation, and we would consider this a +6 translation. Okay, let's try the same thing except for let's translate vertically now. So turn to page 2. All right, let me just make sure my page is centered. Okay, good. Okay, same thing as last time. Let's get our figure on our page, and then we're gonna translate it. So B is 1, 1, 2, 4, 1, 6. And if I'm going too fast, you can pause your video. But I imagine at this point, you guys could easily just do this on your own. So this is B, A, T, and we're going to translate the triangle BAT. We're going to translate it down 10 units. And just a reminder, if you're going down 10 units, that's in the negative direction. So you're translating in the negative direction here. Now I'm going to put a little bit of my Y and X axis on here just to help me keep my figure nice and centered as I bring it down. I'm going to sketch this. Okay, so it says go down 10 units. So I'm going to go down 10 units. Okay, and I think that's 10 right there. I'm going to use my lines to get it all centered. Okay, and then let's put our shape on here. I'm going to use green. Okay, I'm going to move my patty paper off to the side. Now we're going to rename this triangle because it's the translated one. So this will be A1, this is B1, and T1. And let's go ahead and record the new points. Okay, so B1, your X is 1, your Y is -9. For A, your new X value is 4, your Y value is -8, and then for T, it's 1, -4. Okay, so as you're translating vertically, you can see that your X values are staying the same, but your Y values are changing. So we're going to do Y plus C. Now, if you're moving a figure up, if you're translating a figure up, C will be positive. If you're translating a figure down, C will be negative. All right, let's try a more complex one, which will be good. So I'm going to first put my triangle on here. So we have -2 to -2, -2. And then we have a -1, -7. And then we have a -6, -4. So this triangle is man, okay? Now we're doing two things. We're gonna go up 6 and to the right 2. So let's get our figure on here. Let me get a new piece. Well, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do it down the side so I have some space for more. Okay, I'm putting a little bit of my coordinate plane on there just for reference. I'm gonna trace my triangle. Okay, I'm going to go up 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm going to center it. Now we need to go to the right 2 units. 1, 2. And again, I'm going to center it on the grid lines. There we go. Okay, so let's put your new triangle. You have a point right here. We have a point at 1, 1, and we have a point right here. Okay, so let me connect those and we'll give it its new name. Okay, so this will be M1, A1, and N1. So let's see what happened when we translated it like that. Our new M point is at 0, 4. Our new A point is at 1, -1. Our new N point is at -4, 2. Okay. So we need to come up with a rule for this. So let's see what's happening to our X values. It looks like we've added 2 here, we've added 2 here, and we've added 2 here. So I would say X plus 2. And then your Y values, it looks like they're going up 6. Every time it looks like I'm adding 6. So this will be Y plus 6. So you've created a rule for this translation. I hope that makes sense. Your homework on translations is going to be page 5, but don't start your homework yet because I'm going to show you reflections today too, and then you can do page 5 and 6 for homework tonight. I hope that went well. If you guys have any questions about this, you can always visit me in my classroom. I'm in the same spot as last year. I'm in EX1. You can also send me an email. All right, let's take a look at reflections. So like a mirror, you're like looking, it basically just flips over on the other side. So I'm gonna show you how to do this with patty paper. It says graph the triangle 1, 1. Okay, 4, 2, and 1, 6. I feel like we've done this triangle before, but this time we're gonna reflect it. Like a mirror image. Okay, so this is Y, U, M. It's our triangle yum again. Okay, and I think I have yum on here, so let's see. Find my yum triangle. See, look, I already have it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is it says the directions say to reflect the triangle yum over the y-axis. Well, here's the y-axis, you guys. I know you guys know this by now, but this is the line that you're going to reflect it over. Okay, so let's take our triangle yum. And we're just gonna flip it right on over. And we're gonna line up the y-axis right where it was. See how it looks like a mirror image? So let's put our new triangle on there. Okay, so this is going to be our Y1, U1, M1. So let's take a look at what happens to our points when we do that. So our new Y is -1, 1. Our new X is -4, 2. Our new M is -1, 6. So it looks like just all the X's are becoming negative when you flip it over the y-axis. So when you flip it over the y-axis, the y-axis, the y's stay the same, it's the X's that actually change. So it's kind of like inverse. All right, let's take a look at the next one here. We're gonna graph cat, -2, 2, -1, 7, -6, 4. I do realize that I'm going kind of fast, so if you need to pause it and slow down, go for it. In fact, if you want to do this one on your own and then just fast forward to check your answer, go for that too. Just make sure you're following the directions. Tomorrow you're going to learn how to rotate figures, which is fun as well. I really enjoy this type of stuff. Okay, so cat. C-A-T, and I feel like I have cat on here somewhere. Where's my cat? Nope. Okay, here's cat. I found it. All right, so there's my cat figure. And it is telling us to reflect it over the y-axis again. So remember, y-axis right here. I hope you all have that down by now. You had it down when I had you, so I'm sure you're fine. Okay, now you're gonna flip it over the y-axis. And we'll line it up. Okay, so let's put our new triangle on here. And let's label our new triangle. So this is C1, A1, T1. All right. Let's see if our rule that we talked about up here holds true. So our C1 is now going to be positive 2, and then your y is just 2. Then your A is positive 1, 7. And your T is positive 6, 4. So again, all the y's stayed the same, but the x's switched signs. So when we're writing a rule for this, obviously our y is going to stay the same, and our x is going to switch signs. And to make it switch signs, I hope you all know by now, we're just going to multiply it by a negative. Okay, if we just make x a negative each time. And then if it started out negative, like in this case, and you put the negative there, then it becomes positive. Okay, so we've got our rule now for reflecting over the y-axis, and I'm sure you can guess what's coming. We're gonna reflect over the x-axis. So go ahead and turn to page 4. All right, let me get a new piece of patty paper here. Okay, we're gonna get that triangle going. So 1, 6. 4, 0, and 8, 5. I'm going to connect this. All right. Let me label my points too. This is A, B, C. Now let me trace it so that we can reflect it. Just like always, I'm going to put a little bit of my X and Y axis on there. It really does help when you're trying to line everything up after you reflect it. Oh man, I'm struggling with sketching this one. This is messy. That's okay, as long as I get the gist. Okay. Now it says to reflect it over the x-axis. So the x-axis in this case is right here. So I'm just gonna flip it over that. And when I do that, you've got the mirror image now going down. When we do it over the x-axis. So let me put my new triangle on here. Looks like B actually stayed in the exact same spot because it's on the x-axis. And then my A is going to be down here. My C is going to be right here. Now when you were translating functions or reflecting functions over the x and y axis, this is like the basic idea of that. Except for we're doing it with fun shapes instead of functions. Okay, so let's label these points. This is A1, B1, and C1. And let's talk about the differences here. So in this case, A still is 1, B is now -6, or sorry, Y is now -6, A is 4, Y is 0, that one did not change. And then for C, it's still 8, but your Y is now -5. So you're flipping it over, you're reflecting over the x-axis, and it's the y that it's affecting. and it's making, it's changing the sign of the y. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words so much because I've been teaching all day. It's getting late. I am tired. Okay, let's take a look at the next triangle. 1, -9. 2, or 4, -2. If you guys want to just do this one on your own, just pause it, try it out, and then see what happens on your own, I think that's great. You want to follow along with me, that's fine too. We're going to be reflecting it over that x-axis. I'm just highlighting that. You are not going to have answer checkers for this unit. You're just going to be going over it with Mrs. Taylor or whoever is your sub each day to make sure that you got it, that you understand. Okay, so P, Q, R. All right, so I'm like I said, I'm penny pinching my patty paper here. I don't have very much, so I made it work though. If I would have known I was going to be recording a lesson, I would have brought more patty paper home with me. Okay, being resourceful. All right, so I have sketched my figure on there, and I'm going to flip it over. The other cool thing you can do with patty paper, let's see if it works on this, is you can actually rub it, and it should keep your figure. Oh, it's really light, but if you do it with pencil, like if you sketch it really hard with pencil, like get your lines really dark, and then you flip it over, and then you go over your lines again, it will show up on the reflection, which is one of the reasons why patty paper is cool. But I'm doing it with pens, so it's hard to see that. You can kind of see my line there very faintly. Okay, so this is P1, R1, Q1. All right, I'm sure we can guess what's going to happen here. Your new P point is 1, -9. Oh, it's positive, sorry. +9, because I was looking down at the original instead of the translated. Okay, Q is 4, 2, and R is 1, 6. So what's happening here when we reflect it over the x-axis is all the x actually stay the same, but the y's flip signs. And just like on the other page that we were doing, page 3, to make that happen, we're just going to make y negative. And if y is already negative, like in this case, if you put a negative, negative is a positive. So you get it. All right, your homework today is page 5 and 6. And like I said, if you have questions, you can find me in EX1 or you can send me an email. Have a great day, you guys.